Well, this is Nina Brown in Santa Fe, and on such an auspicious day with the energies flying all over the place, this will be the second time I've tried to have this broadcast. The first time I forgot to push the button and there was nobody there, and everyone trying to get on couldn't get on. And, I think, what is it? Total solar eclipse, equinox, and new moon. But just to introduce, we're going to use the star philosophy to talk about a favorite subject of mine, one I'll be speaking about in Ohio in May at the Universal Life Expo, the end of drama. So what in heaven's name do I mean, and how does star, surrender, trust, allow, receive relate to that? So Kathleen, an expert on the subject, can you introduce yourself?
Um, just to give everyone who might be taking this in at any point in time a little bit of background on my story. I joined Nina's collective of light beings around the world in these conversations just about a year ago. And at that point I was in bed, not moving, was just about to start moving, actually, to start walking on a broken ankle that had happened in January. And the year before that, the star surrender, trust, allow, receive concept came to me in this week, the week of my birthday 2 years ago. And then that December, I found out about Nina and her book, and that there were other people who were playing with this idea. And I was so enamored with how Nina had put it into a form that was shareable with others. First the book, and now these circles. And I am thrilled whenever I can participate. When I want to sort of be a testimonial for the philosophy of STAR. It sounds so good. It sounds so like, oh yes, this could be the magic pill, but how do I really have it happen every day? How do I make it be real for me? I think is a question that anybody would. Those are the kinds of questions that start off with whenever we're pursuing something new. Never mind something as a few steps forward as a star philosophy is. So, in Nina's practical applications and asking all of us, how's it affecting our lives? How are we taking the steps? Let's make it real, not theoretical. If people are willing to share how it's played out. The thing for me has been in this really measurable, almost like the scientist in me, the sociologist in me, has been able to measure my own progress with everyday stories. What's happening with family relations, what's happening with employment, what's happening with myself in relationship to worthiness and economics. No matter which piece of the pie you feel like taking a bite out of in the everyday life of us here on Earth right now, allowing oneself to shift to a place that's not the ego mind center, but the sacred heart center, the divine heart center of us human beings, literally changes everything. Your reality cannot stay small, contained, and fear-oriented, consequently pain-filled, when you're coming from the heart. And that's not to say that the way we've been brought up or the paradigm that's the dominant one on Earth right now but is in the midst of shifting out is wrong per se. That's another thing that happens, the need to make things be polar opposites or magnetically opposed to each other goes away. These things that used to be so important to me in order to keep myself in a contained, safe space, number one, they don't work anymore. I'm not sure they ever did. But number two, I'm not even inclined to want to go there because that takes so much work that's not comfortable. What a star philosophy with surrendering, trusting, allowing, and receiving offers humanity is just that, a pause to regroup, and to allow components of our selfness, our beingness, to come forth into our consciousness. It's not that we don't have these capacities, they're just dormant in us because we've been trained and conditioned to think with a different part of ourselves. When I really started practicing surrendering what I thought was the way things were supposed to be, so that I could be in charge of how I was managing my way through it, all sorts of opportunities literally presented themselves that I now can see were there all along. I just couldn't see them because I wasn't open to that dimension of a reality that is about creativity from self instead of need to be defensive within self. And from that platform, I worked to the next step of trusting. And it takes repetition. It's like a practice of yoga or a musical instrument or a dance or fencing or whatever a hobby might be. It's not something that just shifts overnight. You have to invite it into yourself, into your consciousness, into your awareness, from your divine self without limiting. So that's where the trust factor for me came in. Trusting that this whole new way that didn't necessarily make sense to my head, but felt so right in my gut and my heart, trusting that, trusting the inner knowing. What my biology, what my sacred body was saying is, this feels good, this feels good, go with the way that feels good. And so then I've surrendered myself as a limited, fearful being and how I viewed the world from that viewpoint. I surrender that. I still, every day, I surrender it before I get out of bed and as I go to bed, so that my dream time, my sleep time, my multidimensional consciousness time is much more clear so I can be receiving. The trusting is, as I step out each day, I'm in trust. I'm in trust that life has my most magnificent opportunities available for me at all times. And I then get to determine, what am I going to do with that trust? What am I going to, next step, allow myself this day? What am I going to allow myself to trust from loving life's endless, unconditional love source? Whoa. Whoa. When you can get to that place, the synchronicities, the universal timings, the cosmic timings align with your purpose, and purpose being my purpose, all of our purposes simply be joyful in this life that we have here so that we can be a clear conduit for the conscious energy of love that stems from source to flow through us. That's really all there is to this story we got going on here on Earth. And just yesterday was my 60th birthday, and today's all of those energies that Nina was just talking. If I'm sounding sort of like a little over animated, that's why. I am filled with these magnificent energies and so excited about what these possibilities are for us. And here comes Marita.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, dear.
I thought it was not going to be on, so I went out with my dog for a walk, but I'm glad I'm still here. Hello, Kathleen.
Hello, Marita, dear.
Oh, thank you for the blessing you sent me. Hello, Nina.
Hello, hello, hello. So, Kathleen, you're really in a flow here. Can you continue? You sort of got past allow.
Yeah, I'm heading right into receive, because all of these steps require that we allow ourselves to receive the blessings. Life itself is a blessing. If we think about what is the likelihood of my being here, and the components that make me who I am, and the intersection with other people, and that allows for employment and friends and all the life lessons and all the joys. It's absolutely amazing. So when we can get to the place of receiving without cutting ourselves off at all, without limiting ourselves from source connection, then we're standing in our divineness, our divinity, our unity with the endless and awesome powers of love, of source, of whatever term you have that makes you comfortable with the all that is. And I've just gone through that with my mom passed on Valentine's Day. She passed from this physical world back to the spirit home, and I find it magnificent that she chose to do it on Valentine's Day. And yesterday was not only my 60th birthday, but 1 month to the day of when we laid Mom's physical body in the heart of Mother Earth to rest. And I am just overflowing with the magnanimous energies of what this new philosophy has allowed me to do with the family dynamic, with grief, with loss, with holding the hand of a dying person, not just a dying person, but my mom, for 14 straight days when medicine said she shouldn't still be with us. Her will to continue with the love lessons hung on until Valentine's Day. Yeah, I get a little sentiment around that. I just think it was really sweet on her part to do it that way. But the everyday lessons of life, which is all about relationships, all of them shift massively from a place of fear and a historical referencing to a place of being in this now moment. The only thing there is this now moment. What am I going to do with it? What are we going to do with it? Because as we know, everything is connected. So my exuberance with how this philosophy has played out for me, I'm bouncing that off of everybody who comes in contact with me, and they're saying that to me. I've had people at my work say, I can't believe that because I've been saying, I'm really not grieving my mom's passing. I'm not. I'm in loss. I miss her. I'm feeling the loss, but I'm not grieving because I know, number one, she's not in physical pain anymore. She's not in emotional turmoil that she was not worthy enough. She was really scared to die because she was so afraid with her Catholic upbringing that she hadn't been good enough to be loved in heaven. And I've had 2 confirmations from the spirit world that she's doing just fine. Real clear, like I'm thinking of her and my dad. I'm looking at a picture. My dad passed 18 years ago, and they were divorced, and there was a lot of animosity in that energy between them. And I used to talk to my dad when Mom was getting ready to leave and say, I know you'll know how to help her, and I'm trusting that. So last week I was looking at this picture I have in my room of sailboats on the beautiful ocean and just the freedom and that it's all about, and the flow, staying in the flow. And I said, Dad, I know you're there for Mom, but I'm hoping she's at a place where she's opening up to the love that she is and letting her fears diminish. And I have a Himalayan salt lamp next to my bed. It flashed off and on. Hello. So the things that are most challenging about ourselves in relationship to others, this star philosophy is a hands-on, practical tool to be able to address any and all relationships outside of ourselves, because what it does is alter the relationship we have with our own unique self as the starting point. And I'm not aware of anything else that's allowing that much empowerment of our individual selves, if we're willing to claim that, not that we are faulty and we need somebody else to show us the way, but that we are brilliant and beautiful like the stars themselves, full of light, full of creative energy source, and absolutely unlimited in our capabilities and capacities. And I will stop now.